Hey, everybody. Today's the day we're doing another horror franchise marathon. This is becoming kind of a Halloween tradition here at Horror Movie Syllabus. And today we're doing the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I've done the Halloween series and the Friday the 13th series, which admittedly are more my favorites out of the slasher icons, but I do love me some Freddy, clearly. Uh, I'm actually not going to be watching these because those are the DVD set. I'm going to be watching this Bare Bones Blu-ray set. Um, and why am I watching bare bones Blu-ray set? Because Shout Factory has not put together a beautiful Blu-ray collector's series set like they did with Halloween and Friday the 13th. Get on that, guys, because I need it. I need it. So we're gonna do this. Typically, I don't get through the whole series because I tap out. I get tired, and I've been averaging around 8 movies now. I think there's 9 movies in the Freddy series completely. So maybe we'll pull the whole thing off. We'll see. So I'm gonna go ahead and dive into it and wish me some luck. Okay, first movie down, and yeah, I love the first Nightmare on Elm Street. It's one of my favorites. It's just so creepy and scary. More on that later as we go on through the series. But as I tend to do with these first movies, I usually figure out something new every time I watch it. I feel like I notice something new, and this is something that I've noticed before, and then noticed something new about it. And what I've noticed before is that Freddy's chest and his glove hand aren't burned in the movie, which is probably just half-assed makeup effects. They didn't do the makeup on it, but what I noticed on this viewing is that when he cuts his chest open, he pulls up his shirt and cuts his chest open, and it's not burned. It's not burned on one part, but there is some wound or burn or something more near his belly. And I've never noticed that before. So it's partially burned. He's got a partially burned torso, and then part of it's not burned. So that's by design, and that's really interesting to me. I don't know what that's about, but the movie still holds up. It's great. I loved it. This guy here, he was less impressed, but we're gonna go ahead and jump into the next one. I just finished Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, and I love that movie. I do. I saw it when it came out. I was a kid, and I loved it. And I didn't pick up on all the gay subtext at that time, but knowing about the gay subtext now makes me love it even more. It's just a lot of fun to watch that movie. Yeah, it doesn't make a total amount of sense. It's kind of got some ridiculous parts, but it's got a lot of cool, scary stuff too. Some great practical effects. And I know a lot of people don't love it because it kind of breaks the rules, breaks Freddy's rules, but the time this movie came out, those rules really weren't set. And so I don't really have a big problem with that. I love the pool scene, for example. I think it's a lot of fun. So I know I'm in the minority on that one, but I love that one. But now we're going to get into part three, and I know that's a lot of people's favorites, and I'll have more to say about that in a little bit. Welcome to prime time. Okay, we're to Funny Freddy, which is everybody's favorite, except for mine. Actually, I'm not a huge fan of Funny Freddy. I like Scary Freddy. I like the Freddy from Part One and Part Two. Part Three, Wisecracking Clown Freddy is not my. I don't love him. I don't hate him, and I don't hate this movie. I like Part Three quite a bit. It's still somewhat scary. Like Freddy is still somewhat scary, and there's some really great visuals in this one. But he's also starting to crack those jokes, the one-liners, and it's kind of downhill from here. The next couple movies, they all kind of blur together for me, but they're all just kind of like Freddy doing really silly things, and making jokes and having really elaborate, like fun dream things. And the dream imagery is usually pretty fun, but it's just not scary anymore. And the makeup for Freddy is still kind of good here, and I know it's going to get really rubbery from here on out and look very fake and not very scary. So, yeah, this is where it gets to be a little bit of a slog for me. This series is starting with part four, so let me start plowing through it. Okay, I just finished part four, the Dream Master, and this is where all the titles start to kind of blur together for me, and the movies start to blur together for me. This is probably one of the better ones of this part because it's got Kristen in it, it's got Kincaid, and it's got Joey. They all die, of course, and Tuesday night's playing Kristen instead of Patricia Arquette, which is a bummer, but Tuesday night's fine. Where it gets into problems is when it starts switching to the new characters. Alice in particular is pretty bland as a hero, and it's just yeah, just it's full blown funny Freddy, which is not exactly my bag, but it does have some memorable scenes. It has the cockroach scene, has the dog peeing, stuff like that. Funny stuff, not scary stuff, and that's okay. It's just not the Freddy that I like. I like the scarier Freddy, as I mentioned, but there's still some memorable stuff here, some cool imagery. It's fine. It's just not great, but I know it gets worse from here. So buckle up, kids. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Okay, moving right along here. We just got through part five, and that's not a good movie. It's just that one was a slog to get through. That was not easy. I mean, it's got a couple of neat things about it. Like it has some fun stop motion animation, which I'm always a little bit of a sucker for. I like that stuff. And Super Freddy's kind of fun. But man, it's Alice again, and she's just not interesting, and all of her friends in the movie are not interesting, and the story is stupid. The ending is terrible. It's just bad on so many levels, and I know it's gonna get a little worse before it gets better, but I'm gonna plow on through still. So I'm trying to see if I can give these middle ones a new chance. I can a little bit more of a fresh eyes, clean slate kind of thing. But man, it's just reinforcing my thoughts on all of them. They're just not good. So well, let's see how the next one goes. Okay, we got through Freddy's Dead, and it was worse than I remembered it being. I remember all the bad parts, but I forgot about all the boring parts. The movie is slow. I don't think the first person gets killed till like over a half an hour into the movie, and it's just bad on so many levels. It's very cartoonish. It's really tripling down on the humor, the funny Freddy, and like the silly stuff. And the kills don't even make sense because they're not even really tied to the characters, and the characters are terrible. Just really bad all the way around. And then the 3D stuff at the end is just nonsense. And I mean, it wasn't done when it was in 3D. It's really done when it's not in 3D. So this one was rough. I'm not gonna lie to you. Uh, Uses that whole trope of an previously unknown family member popping up, which is like the lazy writers trope. So yeah, I hate this. Was definitely going to be the worst of the series, but the next one's really good. I like the next one a lot, so I'm looking forward to that. Getting the ship right, getting the ship straightened out. So let's get into that. Okay, so we just got through Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and that's probably a pretty good stopping point because I love that movie, and it's a good place to end on. And the cats are saying it's time to go to bed, anyways. It's been a long day, but I enjoy that movie quite a bit. I really like the meta take on it. I like the concept of Freddy being contained by his stories, and then when he's forgotten, he's loose. That's really cool. I just wish that the ending was a little tighter, that the Freddy effects looked better, and it was just a little bit scarier at the end. But otherwise, I really like that movie quite a bit. So I'm on a high note. So I think I'll stop there rather than go on to the next couple movies. I like those movies. Don't get me wrong. Actually, I even like the remake, but we'll talk more about that in another video. I think I'm gonna hang it up here. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with me, and in the comments, let me know what you guys think next year's marathon should be. Maybe Chucky, maybe Saw, Romero Zombies. I don't know. Let me know what you guys are thinking, and we'll see what happens next year. But for now, we're gonna call it a marathon, and I'll say class dismissed.